Welcome back to Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Last time we had what I feel is the saddest chapter in this game. Well, saddest since Grail's death. In fact, in my opinion, it's even sadder. Anyway, now we continue to march further into Daein. And we finally have appropriate map music now. During the battle for Talriga, Ike and the rest of his company come to a bleak realization. Wherever the Crimean army marches, the land becomes a battlefield. The damage is immense. Warfare and floodwaters claim homes, crops, and hope. Villagers seeking shelter and safety stumble blindly through the snow. To them, there is no doubt the Crimeans are an invasion force. However, the Crimeans have their own homeland to save. Focused as they are on that overriding goal, they cannot stop even to help the innocent victims of war. The only way they can help the people of Daein is to keep marching. The faster they reach Daein's capital of Navasa and put an end to the war, the better for everyone. One issue I have with these map screens, though, is I wish you actually had arrows showing where your army is marching, because I didn't really know that that area there was Talriga until I saw the blue pulse there. But now we're heading to the incredibly ominous-looking Daein Keep. I really like how this place looks at night, too, but, its daytime version looks pretty good, too. Considering this chapter is called Without a King, it makes sense that His Majesty hasn't returned yet. And we have that line again. You're saying that within earshot of Ina? Because I don't think she'll take kindly to that. Maybe on Maniac mode, not here. Yeah, but that doesn't matter in a Fire Emblem game at all. Well, this isn't Fire Emblem 4, so you won't get an instant game over if your main castle is seized. It's almost as if Ashnard wants Navasa to fall. Well, Ina is a strategist. She's pretty good at guesswork. That's that lie that just keeps spreading around Daein. It is true, pretty much everyone is against Daein right now. But maybe that was the point. Well, maybe not Goldur, because, you know, they don't move. Sadly, this is pretty much true. That is interesting. He pretty much ensured that every other nation would hate him for what he did, and it seems very much deliberate. The war isn't a means to an end for him, it's the end in itself. But what does that imply? Ashnard is not the kind of person to care about sacrificing anyone. So what she's really saying is that everyone here is expendable to him. That doesn't bode well for them. Yeah, admittedly he is throwing away a lot of his strength, but maybe he's just confident that he has enough Crimea to make up for it. Of course, all of this is a moot point if they were actually able to beat us here. Maybe then Ashnard will actually care about them. Well, it's always a good thing to hear when you know your enemy in a Fire Emblem game will never be receiving reinforcements. So there's some kind of secret weapon that's been entrusted to Ina. Will it be enough to stop us? We'll find out. Yeah, we've finally got to the Daein capital. That was pretty quick. As you can probably tell, the game is nowhere near over yet. Hello, traitor! Please go away! This chapter in general has so much dramatic irony in it. Because for one, Nasir is over here, and we know he's a traitor, we know he stole the medallion, but Ike doesn't know that yet. And yeah, a lot of people have pointed out Gangrel having the same title as Ashnard back in Awakening. That was actually not true in the Japanese version, that was entirely a localization edition. Gangrel's title was Foolish King in Japanese, which meant more in the sense of jester-like than idiotic. Well, it's good to know the city's mostly evacuated. And yeah, Soren has a good point there. Also, this whole speech from Soren, I'll just let it play out. There's a lot I could say about it, but I can't say it yet because reasons. Soren is just being an asshole here again, but he does bring up good points, and there's a lot that Alincia needs to learn if she wants to take her homeland back. Given how traps usually work in Fire Emblem games, we probably don't have to fear anything. Oh no, 5 might spear traps. That FE6 chapter was so weird. And Nasir is making all the obvious traitor signs, but at this point only Soren suspects anything. And hey, I got MVP, but that was only because he killed the boss also. No deaths, but not on our side at least, but... Yeah, that was a painful chapter. And speaking of painful, it's time for more painful aftermath of that chapter in this conversation. This is yet another extension of all of that just amazing development with Jill, and just, I still love how this game actually addresses how someone from the enemy nation feels about invading their former country. Absolutely no relation to the Fates character. By the way, Mia in this game has no relation to Kyle's sister, who he mentions in support from Sacred Stones, because they had different names in the Japanese version. You know, that line actually makes me think, I wonder if the Dark Angel thing is actually a specific cultural thing of Talriga, because someone else actually mentions that in their death quote. More painful dramatic irony. Well, not exactly dramatic irony, because in this case, the characters in story know, it's just another character who doesn't. Look, there's hating them for killing Shaharam, and then there's just being stupid. And yet more of this. One thing that I've noticed in this game is there's sort of a running theme of this game of hatred giving birth to hatred, and how that only makes things worse in the long run. And yeah, painful conversations. Speaking of painful conversations, this one is also painful for different reasons. This one is actually dramatic irony, though. It always hurts to see Mist's sad portrait. It's just, it just looks so painful. It wasn't just protection, it's much more vital than that. But yeah, she'd feel even worse if we told her. Get out of here, you traitor! You're the one behind all of this! You're the reason Miss Sad! He doesn't feel good about it, though. He must have his reasons somehow. And that conversation makes me feel so bad that I feel like there's something that I have to do. I'm gonna forge Mr. Sword. And I could go for a slim one if I wanted. How high can I get the power on this? 8. As compared to 10, or as compared to potentially 13 with lower weight. And I'll need to forge up the hit rate as well, because Miss Skill is pretty bad. I want to give her something after what she's been going through. And I have an idea as to what to name this too. So, this is Latin for protection, it should be, but I just decided to look that up and I thought that would work. Anyway, Mist is one of the only people who can make pink weapons work. And that is going to you, don't worry, but I'm gonna have to put it in the convoy for now. That might actually be helpful later in the game as well. There's one time later on where I'll need to forge its weight down to 9, but oh well, where having Mist fight can help a lot. As for other things, on terms of... Okay, right, you need a restore staff for this chapter. Silence might not be a bad idea either, now I think about it, but I also want Physic. This is the problem with giving Mist a sword, it takes up one slot that could be spent on staves. E.g., I would really like her to have that... where's Tanith? Yeah, that rescue staff too, but... Rescue is always a hard thing for me to use. It always falls into what TV tropes would call too awesome to use. Because I know that it's really, really good, and there's only 3 uses of it, and you only get 1 in the game, so it's always hard to actually use that. But I need to get better about using stuff like that, because if I leave it until the very end of the game, then obviously it's not helping anyone. Now, I'm going to put that in the convoy for now, only because the shop is actually selling steel blades now. It's also selling thunder and L thunder. There's a good reason why the shop is now selling thunder magic, or at least lots of thunder magic, and we'll be seeing that shortly. Also, if you are using knives on anyone, it's selling daggers now. They're slightly better than regular knives. By slightly, I mean they have 4 might, so yeah. It's actually double the might of a regular iron. It's double the might of a regular knife, but that's still pretty atrocious. You know what might not be a bad idea? Devdin must still have it. I forgot I had the spear. I need to give that to someone eventually, but this may actually help in this chapter. As for Soren, I'm going to need to put away Elfire, and you're going to go ahead and take Thunder for very good reasons. Ike should be fine on weapons. I think Stefan's okay. He'll need more weapons eventually. As for Jill, I think Jill's good for now. Yeah, Provoke. I'll need to think of who I give that to. Has Gatry hit? No, he's still at an E in those, but he is an A in Lancers, so do we have any silver? Yes, I do. I can take that. That's good, and Tanith is... She could take a silver sword if she wanted to. Don't think I really have any of those. I do have the silver blade, but... Might as well take a slightly stronger lance on you. And... let's see. Also, I forgot to bring Jill in the last chapter. I actually wanted to, but I forgot. So, Jill will actually be brought here because bolting might see some use. And I think for now that's probably... Might as well convoy that. That. And that. think I'll stick with the Knight Band on you. Paladin Band is HP and speed, whereas Soldier Band is HP and defense. Let's equip the Paladin Band for now. You're not really leveling up much, but you might as well take, I guess you'll take the Pegasus Band, even though it kind of sucks. And that should be all for now. Okay, I'm going to do... I know I promised I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do one save reset here for a bonus experience level up on Soren. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. It's because Soren needs to gain either 1 point of strength or 1 point of speed. Either one will work here. Okay, that was 1 point of speed. That's good. Because with 1 point of speed, Soren gets weighed down by 2 by El Thunder. That puts him at 22 speed. The boss has 18 speed, so Soren will be able to double them with El Thunder. And that will be useful for later. As for everyone else, okay, yeah, I need to level up Gatry, but other than that, I think I'm fine on bonus experience. I might stockpile a little bit for later. No speed, despite the Night Ward, unfortunately, but 1 extra point of strength isn't bad, and you've had trouble hitting things lately, so skill is not bad either. And I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to do. I mean, I could give Ike another level up, but he doesn't really need it yet. Though I have had much better luck at the base with Ike's speed growth. Oh yeah, and as for supports, so I could show Jill and Mist's alternate A for after Chapter 20, but be warned that it's incredibly tragic. I do want to get Jill to an A with Leth. That's the canonical A support that I want to do with Jill in this playthrough, but I will be showing Jill and Mist's A... You know what, I'm going to go ahead and save now and show that. Tearjerker warning. Also, we have this music, which is a massive mood whiplash for this conversation. I wish they cut the music for some supports. So some of this is the same, but it changes a little bit because of what happened in Chapter 20. Yeah, we've seen this part before. So, slightly different there if it's done after Chapter 20. But, I'm sorry, that's not going to be canon for this one. I'm going to be doing Jill and Leth's A. So I think that's everything that I want to do. There really aren't any other supports that I've got unlocked, I think. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, let's move out. The castle gates also look suspiciously like the ones back at Torgaren. It's almost as if they're reusing backgrounds. This game definitely has more unique backgrounds than, say, the GBA games, though, so that's probably fine. And yes, the castle gates are wide open. Of course it's a trap. However, it being so obviously a trap makes it seem like they want us to know it's a trap, and then it's like a double bluff, and now I'm confused. So here it is, the interior of Daein Keep. You probably didn't expect we'd be getting here so soon. Or perhaps he knows that even if it is a trap, we can easily handle it. This contest will be decided here. Murder Hollace. Yes, they are actually doing Murder Hollace. For those who don't know, that's an infamous bad translation of Fire Emblem 5, where there's a plan where the enemies lock everyone in a room and fight to the death, and the early fan translation, for some reason, thought that Murder Hollace was an actual medieval term for that kind of thing, when most people have done research and realized that's completely impossible, and that was just a terrible translation, but it's still funny. So, here's the secret weapon they were talking about. I'm sure many people saw this coming. Now you get why she said that whatever happens, that he has to trust her. Willingly working with a Lagoose is not something that the Daein army often does. But in this case, it's a dragon, so they need the power on their side. As to whether or not this power that's built up in story lives up to it in gameplay, you'll see. Hint, it doesn't. That's a little extreme. Am I the only one who thinks that that's the lamest cheer since the one in the last Airbender movie? Oh no! They're using Murder Hollace on us! We're doomed! Not the legendary Murder Hollace strategy! Yeah, I think what people have kind of figured is that, I think it's Kemp who says that he likes to name strategies after castle parts. Like, he has a strategy called Portcullis, and Murder Hollace was probably meant to be Murder Holes, which are actually arrow slits in the battlements of a castle so that archers can fire down on enemies attacking the castle base, which is actually a technology in Age of Empires that works exactly like that. Yeah, without that technology research, castles are vulnerable to having a bunch of infantry running directly up to them and beating the castle to death with swords. Because castles can't shoot directly down. If you haven't researched that technology, that was always funny to see. Yes, an ultimate weapon! We'll see just how ultimate that weapon is when we actually get to the chapter. And here's the other cool bit of dramatic irony in this chapter. As far as Ike and the rest of the army know, they're fighting Ashnard here. They don't know that Ashnard's left the building for a long time. So it's pretty cool that the player knows something that the characters in story don't. How will they react when they realize Ashnard isn't here and the war is far from over? How will the ultimate weapon fare against us? How will Murder Hollace get properly translated if there's ever a retranslation of FE5? Most of these questions will be answered in the next pass. I really hope FE5 gets a better translation soon. Because it really needs one.